The late afternoon sun hung low and merciless, pressing down on the cracked asphalt of the rural road until heat shimmered in the air like steam. Cicadas buzzed loudly from the trees lining both sides of the road, and the scent of dust and summer grass clung to everything. 10-year-old Maya Johnson walked home from school with steady determination, her worn sneakers scuffing the pavement, her backpack bouncing lightly against her back. The backpack was heavy, not just with textbooks, but with something far more important to her, a small metal toolbox her Uncle Leon had insisted she carry everywhere. You never know when something or someone might need fixing, he always said. Maya was used to walking this road. It cut through a quiet, predominantly black rural community 2 hours outside Boston, where everyone knew each other and strangers stood out immediately. That was why she slowed her steps when she saw it. A bright red Shelby GT 500 Mustang sat parked on the shoulder of the road like a creature out of another world. Its hood was raised, exposing the engine like an open mouth gasping for air. The car's polished surface reflected the sunlight in sharp, arrogant flashes, nothing like the aging pickup trucks and sedans common around here. Beside it paced a man who looked even more out of place. He wore a tailored charcoal suit that probably cost more than everything inside Maya's house combined. His tie was loosened in irritation, his phone pressed tightly to his ear as he walked in tight, angry circles. "I don't care what it costs," he snapped into the phone. "I've been stuck on this road for 2 hours. 2 hours. I have a meeting with the governor in." He glanced at his solid gold watch and swore. "Less than 3 hours, for God's sake." Maya stopped walking. Her Aunt Renee's voice echoed in her head. "Don't talk to strangers, especially ones who don't belong here." And this man definitely didn't belong. Still, something about his frustration, the tightness in his shoulders, the edge in his voice, gave her pause. She shifted the backpack higher on her shoulders and took a few cautious steps closer. "Excuse me, sir," Maya called out. The man spun around, startled. His irritation softened briefly into surprise, then hardened into polite condescension when he saw her. A small black girl with colorful braids, faded shorts, scuffed sneakers, and oversized MIT t-shirt that clearly hadn't been meant for her. "That's very kind of you, sweetheart," he said, forcing a smile. "But this is a high-performance vehicle. I need a real mechanic." Maya shrugged, unoffended. "My uncle runs a garage. He's been teaching me about engines since I could walk. I can at least take a look." Before he could stop her, she dropped her backpack on the ground and leaned over the open hood with surprising confidence. Andrew Whitaker, CEO of Whitaker Enterprises, owner of half of Boston's commercial real estate, and a man used to being obeyed, stood frozen, unsure whether to be offended or impressed. "When did the problem start?" Maya asked, her voice calm and professional. Andrew exhaled sharply. "It started overheating about 40 minutes ago. Then it just died." "Did you smell something sweet?" she asked. "Like syrup?" Andrew blinked. "Yes." "How did you—" "Coolant leak." Maya pointed to a small, shimmering puddle beneath the car that he hadn't even noticed. "That's why it overheated." As she spoke, Andrew watched her with growing curiosity. The way she furrowed her brow slightly in concentration. The way her eyes scanned the engine methodically, not randomly. There was something strangely familiar about her. "What's your name?" he asked. "Maya. Maya Johnson." She extended her hand, already smudged with grease. He shook it hesitantly. "Andrew Whitaker." She nodded and went back to work. "I think I can fix this temporarily." She opened her backpack and pulled out a compact metal case. Andrew watched in disbelief as she located the damaged radiator hose, cleaned it, and wrapped it with specialized tape. "That should hold until you get to town," she said. "But you'll need to add water to replace the coolant." It was when Maya lifted her hand to brush her braids away from her face that Andrew saw it. A ring. Antique gold, set with an emerald green stone. The band was clearly too large for her finger, secure with thread wrapped carefully around its base. The sunlight struck the emerald, revealing something Andrew hadn't seen in 12 years, a tiny crescent-shaped imperfection inside the stone. His world stopped. That ring, the ring he had given to a little girl named Maya at the Little Angels orphanage, days before it was mysteriously shut down. That ring, Andrew said, his voice trembling despite himself. It's very unusual. Maya looked down at her hand. It was my mom's. My adoptive mom, Diana. She died last year. I'm sorry, Andrew said quietly. She said it was a symbol of an important promise, Maya continued. She told me one day I'd understand. Do you know where she got it? He asked carefully. Maya shook her head. She never said, just that it belonged to someone special. Andrew's hands were shaking. He insisted on driving Maya home as thanks. During the short drive, he asked casual questions that weren't casual at all. Where she lived, who she lived with, where she went to school. I was adopted from an orphanage called Little Angels, Maya said. It closed soon after. Andrew nearly lost control of the car. That night, Andrew made a phone call that would change everything. Andrew Whitaker didn't sleep. For 3 nights. He stared at enlarged photographs of the emerald ring taken by his private investigator. He remembered the promise he'd made to a frightened child 12 years ago, a promise he never kept. At Whitaker Enterprises, he dug into old files. He found suspicious bank transfers, lists of children relocated after the orphanage closure. One name circled in red, Maya Johnson's special case. Then the investigator called. Diana Johnson died in a car accident, Ramirez said. Brake failure. Suspicious. Andrew closed his eyes. Meanwhile, Maya worked in a small workshop behind her aunt and uncle's house, fixing an old radio with ease. When she mentioned Andrew Whitaker and showed his card, Leon and Renee exchanged a look of fear. That night, they told her the truth. Diana hadn't adopted her legally. She had rescued her. She ran with you when the orphanage shut down, Renee said. Changed names. Hid. They gave Maya a yellowed envelope Diana had left behind. Only be opened if someone from the Whitaker family ever found her. Maya read the first line with shaking hands. My dear Maya, if you are reading this, someone has found you. Across town, a black SUV idled outside Maya's school. And across the street, Uncle Leon watched. Phone pressed his ear. This is about little angels, he said, and a girl with an emerald ring. The black SUV waited like a predator at the edge of the school parking lot, its engine idling softly, windows tinted too dark to see through. Maya didn't notice it at first. She was laughing with her friends, her backpack slung over one shoulder, the emerald ring catching the sunlight as she waved goodbye. Across the street, Uncle Leon sat rigid in his old pickup truck, eyes fixed on the SUV. His knuckles were white around his phone. This is Leon Johnson, he said quietly into the receiver. It's happening. Little angels. The girl with the emerald ring. I've got proof. On the other end of the line, journalist Marcus Hayes inhaled sharply. Don't move, he said. I'm on my way. And Leon, keep her safe. The confrontation. At Whitaker Enterprises. Panic spread through the upper floors like smoke. Andrew Whitaker stood in his office when his assistant burst in, pale. Sir, your father is here. Howard Whitaker didn't wait to be invited. He strode in with the confidence of a man who had never been told no. Florida 10 still clinging to skin, eyes sharp and calculating. I hear you've been digging through old files, Howard said coldly. Files that should have stayed buried. I found her, Andrew replied evenly. Maya Johnson, the girl with the emerald ring. Howard's face twitched for just a moment, then hardened. So what? Just another orphan. No, Andrew said. She was a child you marked, a child you hunted. Howard laughed softly. You still don't understand what Little Angels was, do you? Some children are assets. They see patterns faster, fix things intuitively, think beyond limits. Why waste that? Andrew felt sick. You shut down orphanages. You falsified adoptions. You experimented on kids. Howard leaned closer. And you benefited from every dollar it made possible. Before Andrew could respond, the doors to the executive conference room swung open. Federal prosecutor Claire Bennett entered first. Behind her walked Maya Johnson. She was small, wearing sneakers and a backpack, Uncle Leon at her side. And behind them, camera raised Marcus Hayes. The room fell silent. Maya, Andrew said softly, You didn't have to come. Yes, I did, Maya replied, her voice steady despite her age. My mom said one day I'd have to face the men who made us run. Howard studied her like a specimen. So you're Project 17, he said, smaller than I expected. And you're the man who killed my mother, Maya said, meeting his gaze without fear. Her brakes didn't fail by accident, did they? Howard smiled thinly. Prove it. Maya reached into her backpack. The room seemed to hold its breath as she removed the emerald ring and twisted the stone gently. With a soft click, a hidden compartment opened. Inside was a tiny data device. My mother was smarter than you thought, Maya said. She hid everything here. Backup copies of adoption records, video calls, military contracts, meetings where you talked about turning children into weapons. Marcus Hayes lowered the camera, just long enough to smile. This is live, he said. 10,000 viewers and counting. Howard staggered back. Andrew stepped forward. It's over, Dad. I turned everything over to the federal government. Full cooperation. Full immunity for me. Federal agents entered the room. As Howard was handcuffed, Maya spoke one last time. My mom taught me that broken machines can be fixed, she said. But broken people have to choose to change. Howard was led away as his empire collapsed in real time. Aftermath. Whitaker Enterprises stock plummeted within days. Investigations uncovered decades of corruption, illegal experimentation, and silenced witnesses. Andrew resigned, donated his entire fortune, and helped dismantle the very systems he once inherited. 5 years passed. On a bright spring morning, Maya, now 15, walked to the halls of the Johnson Center for Young Inventors, built on the land where little angels once stood. Labs hummed with energy. Kids laughed, built, tested, dreamed. The sensors in the East Wing are still off, Maya said casually to a group of engineers twice her age. Probably a grounding issue. At the back of the center, Andrew, now in jeans instead of suits, explained the mission to visitors. No contracts, no ownership, no exploitation, he said, just opportunity. Maya had already filed her 3rd patent. That night, she stood on stage during the center's first graduation ceremony. When I was 10, she said, holding up the emerald ring, I fixed a stranger's car. That small act uncovered something broken far bigger than an engine, but it also showed what's possible when truth meets courage. Andrew watched, eyes wet, in a federal prison cell miles away. Howard Whitaker stared at concrete walls, his legacy reduced to silence. The final sign was unveiled at the center's entrance as the sun set. Every talent deserves to flourish. Every child deserves freedom. Maya looked out at the children running through the garden and smiled. Some things, once broken, weren't meant to be fixed. They were meant to be rebuilt, better,